Hi, I'm just sharing this footage, and I'll leave the link to it, which is on my FB, and it's Dave Corkill, and he's making some really excellent points here, and he's talking about just how bad society is, and it is really, really bad in Britain. Britain is, I have to describe it as an evil place. I think what's most disgusting about British people is that a lot of them are so nice. They're such nice people. But they're so pig ignorant with it. It sickens me. It really sickens me. Because it's like they've forgotten. They've forgotten what it means to be a human being. And it isn't their fault, you know. I don't blame them. I don't judge the people personally for being the way they are, because I know that Britain is one of the most evil nations on this planet. The amount of damage that the elite of this country have afflicted, not just against the British people, they stamped on us first before they went around stamping on every other nation on the planet and peoples. The amount of damage that this ruling consciousness has afflicted on the people of Britain for well over 1,000 years now. I mean, it is. We did have a couple of few hundred years to recover from the Roman invasion after Rome fell, and we went back to our Druid faith and adopted Christianity, incorporated Jesus into our Druid faith and became Celtic Christians, until the point even that was crushed again by Rome and its sick, twisted interpretation of Jesus' life that they call Christianity, and what they've done with it, an absolutely abomination of, I believe it is an abomination to have people kneeling before an instrument of Roman torture. But, you know, this insanity that infuriates me, I mean, absolutely infuriates me. It's an outrage. The legal definition of children as a minor human being is a blasphemy. It's a blasphemy. It's disgusting, and it's most disgusting to witness these very nice people who are all educated and civilised, and yes, you know, they do hold themselves above most of the rest of the world, of people that are living in abject poverty in the nations that have been oppressed and subjugated and brought to ruin, sacked basically, through hundreds of years of colonial rule. And what's left, the heritage, the psychological legacy and heritage that is left to the people that are left, the hand-me-down slaves, who are now told they're free to live in poverty and crime, free to be exploited. And nobody knows it more than the people of Britain. And everything that this man is saying, you know, like, he's explaining that, oh, when somebody's died, suddenly there's this outpouring, you know, of love for the person, especially people that take their own lives, that are driven to taking their own lives. And that's something very, very familiar with me, as somebody who lives with complex PTSD, and battling for the will to live has been a regular feature of my life, and it's part of my survival, you see. Just the fact that I'm still here is somewhat of a miracle, really. As is for a lot of people. I have a lot of respect for people who are experienced and who have learned from their experiences and who do stay alive, but equally a lot of understanding and compassion for the souls, you know, the people that have lost that battle, have decided that's it, I've had enough. And their last and final act of ending their life really needs to be a wake-up call for the people around them, doesn't it? Because they're making a statement. They have sacrificed their very life in order to make a final statement about what they think of this world, of this society, of what it has done to them. That even that life isn't worth living in this world, you see. And when people are driven to suicide through force of external pressure, because there are certain mental health conditions that people can have. You know, people can be very wealthy, they can have seemingly nice lives on the outside and yet still feel suicidal, you know. But there are a lot of people who are genuinely struggling in life, and it's precisely because they're tired, they're sick of the struggle, they're sick of being treated less than human, that they end their own lives because it seems pointless. And so, you know, Dave's saying here, well, if only the people with all this outpouring of love now for this person that has taken their own life, if only they'd given it to the person while they were alive. But you see, no, love is for the dead, isn't it? That's why we love dead Jesus, don't we? We don't love the living Jesus, do we? The man, the real human being, the example of a true human male. You see, we don't love him as and emulate him and adopt his way of being and approach to life, do we? No. We love him because we know he's dead. He's dead, so we can love him now. Because we don't actually have to listen to him. We don't actually have to act on the things that he's explaining to us. We don't have to take it on board. So we can love the dead. We can love the people that have been driven to suicide because of austerity. 120,000 British people murdered through austerity. How does a nation swallow that? How do very nice people swallow that? I don't get it. I don't get it. How do a nation, a very nice, educated, kind, actually nice people, how do they cope with witnessing our NHS being sold off, private contracts being sold to global corporations? How do we feel about that? Oh, apparently nothing. Oh well, you know, we're too worried about our lawns and our little holidays, and oh, so-and-so's getting married, and oh, the new baby's come. The new baby, do you mean the minor human being? The unimportant, insignificant human being another one has been born onto our planet, into this evil country. You know, I've been trying to share. Well, one, I was absolutely stonewalled and shut up, cold stone into silence about child abuse from when I was 13 years old, and I first informed authorities, and nobody I spoke to about it in later years wanted to know. It was like some filth. Oh, can we change the subject, please? It's got very dark. Well, that darkness is what I grew up in for 17 years of my life. That darkness was my life. So not only is nobody going to recognise and say, wow, you survived that and you managed to get yourself to Polytechnic after after all that, and you've managed to stay off alcohol and drugs, and you're really trying to do something and share something. Wow. Show some respect. Oh no. That is just fuel ammunition to throw at me because I'm making people uncomfortable. Oh, because I became vegan, I'm demanding other people become vegan. Well, I'm advising people to become vegan, but I've never rammed it down people's throats. I've never used it to big myself up or put people on a guilt trip. But no, instead, use that to judge me as a mad person. Oh, well, she's mad, isn't she? You know, she's fucked up because she was abused as a child. But, you know, I'm supposed to automatically revere somebody like David Cameron, even though even the people who allege they hate him still actually revere him, because they still hold him and Theresa May and Jacob Rees-Mogg and all these mad nutter criminals of Parliament, they still hold him and all of them in higher esteem than they hold people like me, who are coming from their own stock and kith and kin. They still stand against me. My whole family turned against me when I witnessed the light being and I was talking about it. I wasn't going around saying, oh, I'm a born-again Christian and God is love. And yeah, God is love. But what is love? And that's what people have lost connection with in Britain. And that's exactly what Dave Corkill really is talking about here, is that people do not know how to love. We've lost connection to love. Love is standing up for your rights. Love is refusing to accept the legal definition of minor against your own children. Love is caring about what is being done in your name in other countries. What your government is supporting in your name. That's love. Love is not a selfish thing. Love is not to be focused purely on your own home and your own community and your own country. It's everywhere. It's for every life. All life is here to be loved by us because we're capable of it. We're capable of giving it. We're capable of receiving it. And we are not. We're not giving it. We're not receiving it because love apparently is money. We all love money. And the love of money is higher than a child. It's higher than our rights. It's higher than our planet, our planetary needs. And so what is the answer? You know, can we abolish money? Well, no, we can't. But what we can do is we can raise the standards of living. We can remove things like the legal definition of minor against our children. We can stand up for our rights. We can demand that the money works, that the money is lawful, in that it upholds the law, that it is regulated by laws, that people aren't allowed to get too rich and that people aren't allowed to get too poor. The money can be used wisely to satisfy our needs if it represents the resources of our planet, which need to be replenished. But at the moment, our planet is being treated like a larder, and everybody's taking stuff out of it, but people aren't putting much back in apart from rubbish and pollution. And buildings. Lots of useless, crap buildings. I mean, you go around your city centres today, go and have a look how many offices there are standing empty. What is it all about? What it's about? It's a money machine feeding itself. The builders. Give us more money, give us more money. We'll build this. We want to build these office spaces. Here you go, councillors. Some money. The banks are feeding it all. They're keeping a false economy going. Every day you'll see them there building. And yet people have got no homes. What is going on? What is going on? And I am upset because I am sick of being ignored. And like I say, I witnessed the light being experienced. Oh wow, that's just way out there, isn't it? If only I was a drug addict and people could have said it was drugs. If only I'd really had a psychotic experience, which I was prepared to entertain that fact for quite some time. But you see, I didn't. I didn't have a psychotic experience. What happened to me was a natural part of British life before we had this Roman invasion of the Romans and then with its so-called Christianity. These things were natural parts of our life. We understood the Druid people, the British culture that everybody keeps harking on about for Brexit. Oh, the British culture, we want to get back to British culture. We haven't had British culture in this country for over 1,000 years, as I've repeatedly stated. We have not had British culture. British culture was finally murdered by William the Conqueror. But these natural, you know, the supernatural is a part of our natural intelligence. As I say, but nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. They're still going on about Brexit and this and that, and they're not focusing on the real issues. Does it matter about Brexit, whether we're in or out of the EU? Who does the NHS belong to? Which is more important here now? The stuff that our grandparents and their parents before them suffered so hard and struggled so much for, to establish for us and every future generation in Britain, our NHS, our rights, our human rights. And this government thinks, I tell you, if we held them to we demanded, insist that no, we're having our human rights and we're going to have all these rights. I tell you, there's no way this government will want to leave the EU because they know they won't be able to screw us. But this is what I'm talking about, is this holistic knowing. You see, we're never going to get anywhere near what Dave Corkill's talking about here. We are never ever going to get anywhere near it until we can accept the reality of our own universal consciousness and self. Outside, until we can step out of the characters that this world has imposed on us, just by the sheer circumstances of our lives. Until we can connect with the human being inside of us and get human, and that does mean recognising universal law. It does mean recognising your universal quantum energy, reality, like being self. In which case, then, yes, you will recognise that Jesus himself, as a human being, not as the Son of God, as a human being, the Son of Man, you will understand, oh yeah, Jesus was there. He was totally connected to what I'm connecting to now. And it's not changed. Thousands of years later, it's still the same intelligence. This world doesn't live by it. This world is living by its own laws. It's actual criminal rules for criminals to stay in power and control. But you know, I look at this, how many loves, likes, comments, the comments are endless, 180. Oh, we all agree with Dave Corkill. Well, why are so many people still committing suicide out there then? How is this love for what he's saying going to change anything until you people put in your loves, start actually focusing on key issues that are going to deliver the change? And one key issue is this issue of the label minor placed on our children. And until you can get your heads around that and hold the hand of the little children, you're getting nowhere fast, humanity. When your own children are being judged insignificant, unimportant human beings, how do you think that they can get away with bombing Palestine and bombing Libya and bombing here and imposing austerity on us? How do you think that they can get away with that when they know it's going to have a terrible impact on children? But you see, children legally a minor concern. A minor concern. They are using the words exactly the full power of them so that they can ignore the impacts on the children because it is a minor concern. That is why crimes against children are so trivialised, because it's a minor crime. It's a crime against minors. When a child delivers a crime report to police, it's a minor crime report. It's been given by a minor human being. Why can't people get their heads around this? And I feel ignored and I feel rejected. And yes, it sickens me. It sickens me. It sickens me, especially my so-called friends. Not one of them have picked up on the issue of minor. All the people I've written to, how many organisations saying, look, will you please raise this issue? We want the legal. It's a simple thing. It's a simple thing. Why is this simple little thing so ignored when actually it's huge? It's huge. You think it's a very little thing, but it's huge. And until we can change it, nothing is going to change on this planet until we can raise children as VIPs instead of minor human beings. Well, look what we've got. A whole planet full of minor human beings who haven't got the wherewithal even to stand up for their own children's future.